Hey, well, good morning, friends. Welcome to Yoga Church Digital this morning with Karen Hughes. Hey, if you want to begin the practice by just showing some social media love, give us some likes and loves, show some appreciation for Karen and her leading us this morning. That'd be awesome. I'm going to do just a quick little devotional from the Christian scriptures. And please, if you're not a Christian, don't be intimidated by that. We all have different spiritual paths that we follow, and we just encourage anybody to come and be a part of this, and no matter what your particular spiritual path might be. Also want to just invite you as we get started, if you think maybe you got some friends out there in your relational network that might benefit from this, that if you would start a watch party or share with others as we go along, so you can kind of invite them into the practice this morning as we gather. So we get a lot of questions about yoga and Christianity and how do those things intersect, and is one like some kind of devil worship or something that Christians shouldn't be doing? And I know to some people that may sound like a crazy idea. Maybe it's something you've kind of thought about or questioned. So I wanted to just kind of quickly share the concept of worship from the Christian scriptures, um, and to say that really this idea of the movement of the body is actually a deeply Christian practice. In fact, the word for worship, and I just want to read you this little psalm this morning, Psalm 29:2, which says, "Give unto the Lord the glory due his name. Worship the Lord in the beauty of his holiness." So there's some awesome stuff there about God being holy, and that word just means simply a set apart, different, that God is chesed, God is unfailing love, that he radiates this presence, this holiness, this beauty. But that word worship, the first time we see it is in the book of Genesis with Abraham. And anytime you see that word worship, I just want to show you what that word means in the original Hebrew. The word is shachah, and every time it's used, it has to do with the body. So to bow down, to bow, to reverence, to fall down, to crouch, to stoop. Um, so this is the concept of worship from the Hebrew scriptures is a whole body concept. Now, typically we translate that into the West as, we sing some songs or we, lift our hands or something. So we have some equivalence to that. But when the Bible, the Christian scriptures, particularly the Old Testament, is calling for worship, it's this idea of our whole body being offered in some way to God. So that could be a face down posture, kneeling, bowing. But the idea there is the Old Testament and the New Testament see humanity as this integrated being. So we're not like separated mind, body, spirit kind of Western idea, but our body and our mind and our spirit and our emotional life are all interconnected, and one, really. And there's these different spheres or dimensions of our humanity, but they're really all integrated physically in our body. And so one of the beautiful things about yoga is the concept is as you move your body in these different postures, you can unlock things. You can parts of you that were maybe frozen or stuck, that trauma and kind of stress and anxiety can be released from doing this practice of yoga. So this is not some foreign idea to the Judeo-Christian tradition, and this is not, one world religion owns yoga, but they're really, and it's amazing, in almost every religious tradition and every spiritual path in the world, there's some kind of idea of this whole body worship, and it is a deeply deeply Hebrew Christian concept. So maybe actually what we're about to do, what Karen's going to lead us through this practice, is more in line with what some of the ancient Hebrew people understood worship to be. It's the movement of the body. It's humbling ourselves in these postures. It's reverencing and focusing our attention upon God. And as we do that with our mind, our body, our soul, we're focused in that state of worship, that we experience this kind of inner healing and inner transformation that can then go out and that affects how that starts in our inner life, and that affects how we interact with others in our daily lives, right? So there's so much benefit and value to this. And what I see yoga as an opportunity for me, and it can mean different things to different people. So not trying to project that onto anybody. But for me, it's an act of worship and meditation and prayer that's very much in line with the spiritual path that Hebrew people and Christian people have been practicing for literally thousands of years. So we're joining into that practice of our ancestors. So I'm going to turn it over to Karen. So grateful to have you all today. And again, we just thank Karen for giving us her time and leading us in this way.
Great. Well, thank you, Michael. What a great devotion. I tend to practice more of a hatha yoga, which has no religious connotations. However, being a Christian, for myself, I am continually worshiping the Lord, my Lord, through the different poses. So a lot of times my intentions have a Christian base or a Christian intention or prayer, you could say, that I meditate on as I go into some of the different poses. So maybe you find an intention today as well, or a prayer, or something that you can focus on throughout your practice today. Because as we worship through our mind, body, and spirit, it helps us to become more free. It allows more energy to flow through our body and just helps us to be more restored and in a better place. So I pray that for you as you go through your practice today. Let us begin with the heart of yoga, closing our eyes and just breathing. So breath is the heart of yoga. So let us just breathe with our eyes closed. Let us be aware of our breath and use our breath to guide our movement throughout our practice today. And as you breathe, just clear any clutter in your mind so that you can find that intention that maybe your heart, your mind, your soul is speaking to you today. So sometimes we don't have the space in our mind because we have all kinds of clutter from the anxiety and everything that's going on in our world today. So here's an opportunity for you to just get rid of all that clutter and just focus on your heart, on your soul, on your mind, and on your breath, and find that intention to meditate on through your practice today. And with our eyes closed, we'll transition into a purifying breath. Inhaling as deep and long as you can in through the nose, all the way down deep into your belly. And then exhaling all the old air out of your mouth. So long exhale through the mouth. Maybe making a shh sound as you exhale. On the next breath, let us return to normal breath in through the nose and out through the nose as we open our eyes and sit nice and tall. Take your arms out long with your palms up. Inhale to float the hands up, and exhale, hands over, heart center, and namaste. Inhale to float the hands up, reaching out long, nice big stretch. Using your breath to guide your movement here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Be sure to listen to your body through your practice today. And I say your practice because it really is your practice. I'm just here to help you move through different transitions to different poses for what feels good for your body. So it's very important that you only move in ways that work with your body. And the beautiful thing about yoga is because we're all built so differently, we all move differently. So that's why it's important for you to listen to your body through your practice and be safe. Inhale. And on the exhale, this time let's just reach our arms out as long as you can, floating your fingertips down to your mat. As we go into our side stretches, flip your left palm up and take your palm up and over, reaching as high as you can for strength and over for flexibility. Using your breath as you go side to side. And this will be our last side stretch as we just rest our hands down by our sides on our mat. Grow as tall as you can through the crown of your head, and make sure your knees are bent, either folded legs or maybe you prefer for your feet to be out here because it hurts your knees to fold them. Just a little bend in the knee helps to protect the spine. As we go into a few neck stretches, grow as tall as you can through the crown of the head, and then drop your chin to your chest to stretch the back of your neck. And breathe. And with your chin on your chest and your eyes closed, let's let our spine round. Just let it go, let the shoulders round forward and the rib cage cave in. Relaxing the wrists and the elbows and the shoulders and the hands, and letting your head get heavier and heavier as your spine rounds, opening up the space between each vertebra. Inhale, and on the exhale, slowly roll your chin up to your left shoulder. And when you get there, sit as tall as you can. We're going to do half neck circles and slow motion. Inhale to drop the chin to the chest, rounding the spine. And on the exhale, bringing the chin up to the right shoulder and growing tall through your spine. And again, inhale, dropping the chin to the chest, rounding the spine. Exhale, come up to the left shoulder and grow tall. And one more half neck circle. Inhale. And exhale, stay nice and tall, growing through the crown of the head, bringing your gaze back to the center as you let your left earlobe fall towards your left shoulder with a heavy head. Inhale. On the exhale, come back up to the center, and then let your right earlobe slowly fall towards your right shoulder with a heavy head. Inhale, and on the exhale, come back to the center as we go into our shoulder shrugs. Inhale to shrug your shoulders up, then exhale to push them back down. Inhale up, and exhale down. Inhale up, and exhale down. This time, as you bring your shoulders up towards your ears, roll them as big as you can towards the back. So slow shoulder rolls to the back. External rotation, opposing that internal rotation that we do throughout our day on computers and cooking and whatever it is you do. We're usually rounded forward. So let's oppose the internal rotation and externally rotate, releasing any stress in your neck and shoulders and upper back. Inhale and exhale, and one more big shoulder roll. Inhale and exhale. Let's go on into staff pose. Straighten your legs out in front of you. Point your toes up towards the ceiling to ground your legs, and then use your fingertips underneath your armpits to grow as tall as you can, and you're in staff pose. Now we can take our staff pose into a progression, a little more challenge, by floating our fingers up towards the ceiling and then hinging forward 2 or 3 inches and just pause there. So your biceps are by your ears, your fingertips are reaching forward towards the ceiling, and your toes are pointed up to the ceiling. You're feeling this stretch down the backs of your legs, up your spine, through your arms, feeling the energy flow through your fingertips and breathing. So you can stay here and continue to breathe, or if you can forward fold, as long as you don't have any herniated lower disc, or it's contraindicated if you're over 60 to forward fold. But if your spine allows you to forward fold, begin your forward fold. Reaching your fingertips towards your toes, bringing your chest towards your knees. Bend your knees if you need to, and let your nose float towards your knees. We'll breathe 3 breaths here. On the next breath, we're going to slowly round the spine up to tall spine, stacking your vertebra, one vertebra on top of the other at a time so that we can be kind to our spine. Let's go and pull that left knee in. We're going to go into our spinal rotation. You can cross your foot over if it feels better. We use this bent knee only to get tall, so it's important to keep a tall spine as you rotate. We're going to go and take our opposite arm or elbow around that knee to get taller, and then go on and rotate around to your left, dropping your left hand behind your back, lifting your heart, lifting your gaze, and inhaling so deep that you feel your rib cage expand. Inhale, and on the exhale, slowly come back around to the center. We're going to move right into half cow face by taking that left heel towards the right hip, and then just drop that knee on top of your bottom knee and sit nice and tall. This is half cow face. If you want more, you can go into full cow face. Just going to take that right heel back towards your left hip so both knees are stacked, and sit as tall as you can. And then inhale to reach the hands all the way up, and then drop your hands behind your head to support your head. Squeeze your elbows towards each other. And if you still want more, maybe you begin to gaze upwards, supporting your head with your elbows and with your forearms and your hands behind your head. On the next breath, come all the way back to the center. Reach your hands up, bring your hands back down. Lean back and straighten your legs, but keep your legs crossed. So left leg is over the right for a crossed leg staff pose with a twist. Go on and float your arms out in front of your shoulders. Again, sitting tall, cross your arms. Flip your hands, drop your hands. Maybe you stay here, or you can do a forward fold here. Tuck your chin, look at your belly, and slide your hands towards your ankles only as far as it feels good for your body, and breathe 3 breaths here. On the next breath, slowly begin to round the spine back up, stacking your spine one vertebra at a time, lifting your chin last, uncross your legs, pull your right knee in, using the knee to get as tall as you can. For spinal rotation around to the right, cross your foot over if you wish. Take your left arm around that right knee to get taller. As you take your right hand around to the back, lifting your gaze, lifting your heart, and breathing deep. On the next breath, slowly come back around to the center as we go into half cow face, taking that right heel to your left hip as far as it feels good for you, and then dropping your knees so your knees are stacked as much as it feels good for your body. And then if you want to go into full cow face, I take my hands behind my back to lean back and simply just slide or pull that left heel to the right hip so both knees are stacked. Inhale to float the hands up into prayer hands over your head. Drop your hands behind your head. Squeeze your elbows in towards your temples. Support your head. And if you wish to continue with more challenge or more stretch, going to begin to gaze upwards, supporting your head, supporting your neck, and breathe. On the next breath, bring your hands back up, bring your gaze back to the center. Drop your hands down so that you can straighten your legs, but keep them crossed for cross-legged staff pose on this side. Again, pointing your toes up to the ceiling, taking your arms out front of your shoulders, reaching your arms long, only to cross them. Flip your hands, drop your hands, tuck your chin, look at your belly, and begin to slide your hands toward your ankles slowly. Only go as far as it feels good for your body. If you can grab the arches of your feet, grab hold. Pull your elbows away from each other and let your nose float towards your top knee and breathe. Inhale, and on the exhale, slowly round back up to tall spine as we go into a seated butterfly. So you're going to take the soles of your feet together. You can keep your feet away if you have back issues, or maybe you want a little more, you can just wiggle a little closer. Grab hold of your knees, your shins, or your ankles and sit as tall as you can. Maybe you stay here as you push your knees away from each other and press the soles of the feet together. Now, if you want more here, you can float your elbows over your inner knees. As you nod your chin, let your gaze go to your belly, softly press your knees down, and let your nose fall toward your toes. Relax your shoulders and breathe. You'll feel an opening up of the lower back here. It should feel good. On the next breath, slowly round your spine back up to tall spine. And we're going to do a little bit of spine mobility here with a seated cat and cow. So your hands will have to come to your bent knees. As you hinge forward, lift your heart, lift your gaze, and this is seated cow. Fill the lungs out with an inhale, and on the exhale, roll your spine back, nodding your chin into seated cat. Inhale to hinge forward into seated cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And come back up to tall spine. Let's bring our knees together. We're going to transition to our hands and knees for a bird dog plank. By the way, I have stitches in my thumb, so I'm going to be modifying a lot. I'll show you the traditional pose, and then I will move into a modified pose for many poses that involve the hands on the mat. Right now, I have my hands in kind of a fist, so that my palm is facing inwards. So I have no weight on my wrist, or at least I have an even weight on my wrist, and my thumb is free from any weight. So for a bird dog plank, we're going to slide our right hand forward and our left leg back. So long leg, long arm, and then if you can float your arm up, do so, and if you can float your leg up, do so, making your lifted arm and leg as long as you can, pulling your belly into your spine and breathing 3 breaths here. Now your lifted foot should be flexed so the energy is floating through the heel. Inhale, and on the exhale, go on and drop the hand, drop that knee. We'll move into an extended child's pose just to release any joint tension here. So drop your buttocks to your heel, drop your elbows, drop your forehead to your hands or to your mat, and breathe. And child's pose. So know that child's pose is a great place to come if there's something that feels too challenging
or something that doesn't feel right, or you just need a break or a rest, come into child's pose. Let's come back to our hands and knees with our wrists under our shoulders. As we go into bird dog on the other side, you'll slide your left hand as far out as you can and your right foot as far back as you can, and then float that left arm up and that right leg up, and reach with your arm and with your leg, all the energy floating through the heel, making your leg and your arm as long as you can make them. And breathe, pulling your belly into your spine. Inhale, and on exhale, drop that hand, drop that knee, and we're going to transition into crouch. So you're going to tuck your toes under, and then you're just going to roll onto the balls of your feet, walking your hands back so you're in a crouch pose. We can nod our chin here and let our forehead fall towards our knees. Relax your shoulders, relax your arms, and just rest in this restorative pose of crouch pose. On the next breath, we're going to drop our heels as we lift our buttocks up into a standing forward fold. You can bend your knees if you need to, or you can straighten them a little bit more, straightening with each breath. Let the crown of the head float towards your toes. Let your arms just hang down like a rag doll. Maybe you want a little more, you can do a little wiggle of the hips. And breathe. And from here, we're going to bend our left knee and straighten our right leg, and then bend your right knee and straighten your left, and continue your knee bends, left knee, right, left, right. Keep that left knee bent as you straighten your right leg a little bit more. Let your nose float towards your bent left knee as you push your right hip up and back, and breathe. And knee bends again, right knee bends, left knee, right, left, right, left. Go on and let that right knee stay bent as your nose floats towards your right knee. Straighten your left leg a little bit more, pushing that left hip up and back, and breathe. And knee bends again. Left knee bends, right knee bends, left, right, both knees bend. As we float our arms up into yoga chair pose, pretending you're sitting in a chair, continue to reach your hands up towards the ceiling along with your gaze. But maybe we check our position, go on and gaze down, be sure you see your toenails if you don't, lift up a little higher. And breathe, pulling your belly into your spine. And if you want a little bit more challenge in your chair pose, go on and float your heels up, balancing on the balls of your feet. And breathe 3 more breaths here. Inhale and exhale, drop the heels, go on and stand all the way up, floating your hands all the way around, hands over heart center. Go on and turn to face the long side of your mat as we go into some moonflowers and sunflowers to warm up our core temperature. Let your feet be wider than your shoulders. Float your arms up and out into a Y. Maybe you turn your toes out a little bit. If you have any knee injuries, go on and keep your feet straight forward, parallel, otherwise a little turnout is good. So this is really all about breath. Use your breath to bring energy, to just bring that, that feeling of revitalization, and just use your breath here. Take your elbows into your waist, squat, and then reach up. So inhale and exhale. We call these moonflowers. Inhale and exhale. Next, we're going to move into sunflower. So all you're doing is making a sunflower shape with your hands and your arms. Nice and big, like a big stretch. Inhale and exhale. And one more, inhale and exhale. Let's bring our arms out into a T, standing straddle split. If your toes are turned out, swing your heels out so your feet are parallel and straight forward. Good morning pose. Hinge halfway down. And this is your good morning pose. Inhale and exhale. And if you want to continue with a little bit more revolving triangle, you can drop your left fingertips under your chest or maybe your full hand as you float your right fingers and gaze up towards the ceiling and breathe. On the next breath, come back into arms in a T as you drop your right fingertips or hand under your chest, floating your left fingers up towards the ceiling and breathe. And then come back into good morning pose, only to hinge all the way back up. Inhale to float the hands up and over your heart center. Take your heels in, take your big toes in, take your heels in, and stay here, or if you wish for a little bit more, you can come join me for a half squat or all the way down into a deep yoga squat. So you're just going to squat a little bit or a lot, but not in between, and breathe. The reason not in between is because that's not really very safe for your lower back or your knees. It's one or the other, and that's okay. Inhale, and on the exhale, come on back up. Inhale and exhale, bring your feet together. As we go into our tree pose, I like to start with my hands over heart center, lifting up your left heel. Maybe you stay there. Maybe you can lift up your left big toe. Maybe the sole of your foot sits on your inside standing leg. So tree pose, connect the sole of your standing foot to the mat. Feel all 4 points of the sole of your foot pressing into the earth. Grow tall through the crown of the head. Pull your belly into your spine. And maybe this is a good time to think of your intention, to meditate on it. Let us breathe 5 breaths here. On the next breath, go on and release. Bring your hands down by your side with your palms forward. And close your eyes. Just feeling the soles of the feet connect to the earth. As we take one of our senses away, our eyesight, and just let our brain remember this connection. Breathe 3 breaths here. It's also another good time to think of your intention. Last week when Michael talked about the fruits of the Spirit, I love focusing or meditating or using one of those fruits as an intention, whether it's patience or love or kindness or gentleness. There's so many that we can just incorporate into our practice to help us to produce that better fruit in our lives. On the next breath, let's open our eyes. Go on and float your hands up and then over your heart center. As we go into tree on the other side, maybe we try something different. Move your arms and your hands to a different place. And remember, it's your tree. So you can either be a tall tree or an uneven tree, a fat tree. It's your tree. So whatever tree you want to be, let it be. And go on and lift up that right heel. Maybe your right big toe, maybe it's close to the floor for safety, maybe you float it up because you feel that you can. And breathe 5 breaths here. Remember the connection of the sole of the foot to the earth. Just think how grounded you are here. Inhale, and on the exhale, go on and release. And let's do some shoulder rolls to the back. Let's come to the front of our mats. We're going to go into some warriors series. We're going to step back with our left foot. So step back not a little, but a lot, as far back as you can. So both feet are forward right now as we go into crescent lunge. I like to bend my front knee and lengthen through my back leg. It helps me to stabilize. Hands over heart center. Reach your arms up as high as you can. You're in crescent lunge. And breathe, 3 breaths here. And next we will turn our back foot out into warrior one. Go on and rotate your upper body a little more forward and feel that stretch. And again, breathe 3 breaths here. So we're going to hold our poses a little longer today so that we can practice meditating on our intention or our prayer or whatever it is that we are worshiping today. On the next breath, go on and take your right arm forward over your right knee and bring your left arm to the back. This is warrior 2. So this is a stabilizing warrior pose that you can come to at any time that you feel off balance, or you feel like you're going to fall, or something doesn't feel right. Just come right on over here to warrior 2. You're gazing down your front fingers and you're breathing, holding for 3 breaths. This is a good time to check your alignment. So if you drew a line from your front heel to your back arch, it would be a straight line. Also, ideally, your wrist would be over your ankles. So that's something we work towards. And then peaceful warrior, drop your back hand to your back hand, flip your front palm up, and begin to reach up towards the ceiling, or if you want more, continue reaching higher, or maybe even towards the back wall. And breathe 3 breaths here. Coming back into warrior 2. As we drop into side angle, you're going to drop that right elbow to that right knee, float your back hand up, gaze down to your big toe to protect your neck, and breathe. And if you want more, you can go into an extended side angle, extending that right hand down to your inside ankle, down to your mat or your shin. Or maybe you still want more, you can gaze up to your top hand and breathe 3 breaths here. On the next breath, come back into your warrior 2. As we straighten that right knee and move into triangle, hinge your upper body forward, dropping your right hand either to your thigh or your shin, floating your back hand back up, and breathing 3 breaths and triangle. If you want a little bit more, you can begin to gaze up towards the ceiling. And then coming back into warrior 2. We're going to go right back into warrior 1. So you're going to take your back hand forward, reach your hands all the way up, and then we'll transition back into our crescent lunge where we started our warrior series. You're going to lift up your back heel and turn your back foot. Be careful here. So you can stay here. The deeper your lunge, the easier it is to stabilize. If you want more and a little extra challenge, you can drop this left hand to the inside of your right ankle as you twist over to the right. Inhale and exhale. And then we're going to all straddle our hands over our front foot. So hinge over if you're not in the twist already. And you're in a deep runner's lunge. And from here, we're just going to lift our hips and slide that back foot forward as we reverse swan all the way up to standing. Inhale. Exhale, hands over, heart center. Good job. All right, let's step back with our right foot, not a little bit, a lot. So remember, the farther that you can step back, the easier it is to stabilize. The longer you make your back leg, the easier it is to stabilize. Bring your hands all the way up, reach up high, Stacking your hands and shoulders and hips in crescent lunge. And breathe 3 breaths here. On the next breath, go and turn your back foot out to the side and rotate your upper body a little more forward into warrior 1. And breathe 3 breaths here. On the next breath, go in and drop your left arm over your left thigh and your right arm to the back into warrior 2. Check your position here. Warrior 2 is a good place to check and be sure that you're aligned correctly. And then reverse warrior or peaceful warrior, drop your back hand to your back leg, flip your front palm up, reach up towards the ceiling or continue to reach up only as high as it feels good for you, maybe towards the back wall. Breathe three breaths here. On the next breath, we come back into warrior 2 as we transition into side angle, dropping that left elbow over that left thigh, knee, reaching your back hand up, gazing down to your big toe. Or maybe you want more extended side angle, you can just extend your arm long, reaching your fingertips to the inside of your ankle. Maybe you still want more, you can gaze up to your top hand. And breathe 3 breaths here. On the next breath, come back into warrior 2. As you straighten your front knee, as we move into triangle, hinge your upper body forward, dropping your hand to your thigh or your shin, reaching your back hand up, gazing down to your big toe. Or if you want more, maybe you gaze up towards your top hand. Go in and bend that front knee as you come back into warrior 2. Taking your right arm back out in front, reaching up into warrior 1. And then transitioning into crescent lunge carefully, lifting your back heel and turning your back foot. Maybe drop down a little bit deeper. Maybe stay here or join me for a little progression, a little twist by dropping your right hand down to your knee or to your ankle or to the mat and twisting over to your left. And then wherever you are, hinge over into a deep runner's lunge, straddling that front foot. And then lifting your hips, tucking your chin, and sliding your back foot forward into standing forward fold. And from standing forward fold, we're going to go into half fold. So you're just going to lift the heels of your hands up along with your gaze. Back into forward fold and step back into downward dog. So in downward dog, if you have high blood pressure, you might want to drop to your knees or to child's pose. Or if you have stitches in your hand like I do, maybe you drop to your elbows, and this is called dolphin. This is also good for any shoulder injuries. And we can go into pedaling here. Left heel goes down, right, left, right, left, right, left. Drop both heels down, and then both heels come up as you drop into your plank. So arms can be straight, or maybe you can do a half plank like I'm doing for modification. Pull your belly into your spine here, and then we're going to drop everything down. Uncurl the toes as we go into cobra. Lift your chest, lift your heart, lift your gaze only as high as it feels good for your body. And from here, we're going to lift up our hips and go into a child's pose. Extend it with your arms out in front of your shoulders and your forehead comes down to the mat.
Inhale and exhale, come back to hands and knees. As we transition onto our buttocks with our feet out in front, moving into yoga boat pose to get a little ab work in. We're going to start by taking our hands behind our knees, pull your heels in, and roll past your tailbone. That's right. Hold on to your legs as you roll back as far as you can with your arms straight. Look at your belly, pull it into your spine. Relax your shoulders, lift your chin, lift your chest, and then lift your legs into tabletop, and you're in boat pose. So maybe you bring your hands down because you feel more stable, or maybe you want more challenge, you can reach your arms up, or even more challenge, straighten your legs and breathe. Inhale and exhale, hinge forward, grow nice and tall through the crown of the head. As we roll back past our tailbone, lifting our feet, transitioning onto our spine for our final savasana. Going to pull your knees into your chest, bear hug them, and then gently rock them side to side. So for final savasana, this is a time where we will go into total relaxation. So there are 3 options here. You can bring your legs up the wall and your arms out in a T. Or maybe you prefer to bring your feet down with your knees bent into a supine butterfly, letting the knees fall away from each other. Or maybe, and by the way, if you're here and your lower back hurts, just push your lower back into the mat and belly into the spine and tilt your pelvis forward. Or maybe you straighten your legs. So find that pose, that position that is most comfortable for you. Close your eyes and just be still. Be still and breathe. As this is the most important part of our practice, it's a time to restore. It's a time that the more that you can relax, the more energy that will flow through your body through the rest of the day, mentally, spiritually, and physically. So take this time for yourself to just be, to melt into your mat, and to breathe, being aware of your breath. I like to do a purifying breath during final savasana, in through the nose and out through the mouth, and making the inhale as long and deep as you can, and making your exhale even longer than your inhale. As you totally relax, relaxing your toes and your heels and the arches of your feet, your ankles, your legs, behind your knees, relaxing your buttocks, relaxing your back, your lower back, middle back, and your upper back. Relaxing your shoulders, your arms, the insides of your elbows, your hands, the palms of your hands, your fingers, your thumbs. Relax your buttocks and your hip bones and your pelvis, even your belly and your rib cage and your chest. You relax your neck and your scalp, all the muscles in your face. You can find true relaxation just by relaxing all the muscles in our face. Relax your forehead and your eyebrows, eyelids and your cheekbones and your nose, your chin, your earlobes, your jaw, even your teeth. You can unclench them. Let them part. Let your tongue fall away from your teeth. Relax your lips and just be. Breathe, breathe deep, inhale. And exhale loud. Continue to breathe as you open your heart. Let your heart be filled with love. Love of yourself, love of others, love of the unlovable. And may your hearts be filled with grace and with gratitude, and from that gratitude, joy and peace. May your hearts be filled with peace. It all starts in our own hearts. So let our hearts be filled with peace, and let us share that peace and understanding with others around us. And let us return to normal breath in through the nose and out through the nose as we make our way back up to a seated position with bent knees, either folded legs or slightly bent, the way we started our practice today, with our eyes closed and being aware of our breath and letting our heart speak to us. And if you have any prayer requests, please just say them out loud, type them in. We can pray together even on this media outlet. We can be together in the spirit of prayer. So let us lift each other up and lift up any prayer request at this time. I lift up a prayer for a dear friend whose niece overdosed on heroin the other day and has 3 small children. And I just lift up that family, and my prayers go to them. On the next breath, let's open our eyes, sit nice and tall as we close our practice. Take your arms out long. Inhale to float the hands up. Exhale, hands over heart center. I hope you feel renewed and restored and energized after your practice today. Thank you for joining us, and namaste. Peace be with you. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining with us this morning. And Amy asked a question, will we be able to watch this later? And yeah, so it'll stay on Facebook like forever, and it'll also be on our YouTube channels. So I forgot to mention in the beginning, those of you who will join throughout the week who may not join into the live time, you can join the practice anytime throughout the week. So thank you for being with us today. And Karen, thank you. Amazing as always for leading us. And I'll just close us with the Lord's Prayer and hopefully see y'all next week. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.